So good morning, and thank you for joining us for our webinar today, an introduction to GetX for Sage 100 ERP. This webinar is being recorded, and a link will be sent to you sometime shortly after the conclusion of the presentation. So everyone is in the listen-only mode, and therefore if you have any questions as we go along, please key them into the chat box. We'll be sure to address those at the end. My name is Paul Ziliak, and our company is XK0. We're a certified development partner for Sage 100, Sage ERP X3, and Sage 500 ERP. And we're builders of industry-leading applications for mobile and delivery, and we have some great solutions for e-commerce and transportation management, and of course GetX that we're going to look at today. So some of you might be aware that last December, Elnor Kasim, who many of you might know, joined XK0, and he now leads a team that we call XK0 Technical Services, providing the Sage 100 community and end users with master developer services such as custom development, advanced scripting, advanced SQL, and so on. And love to have the opportunity to work with you on those kinds of projects if we could. Another product that we have is iSales 100, version 4 of iSales. The big highlight for that is our ability to manage and distribute the allocation of lot and serial numbers, whether that's during a sales order, invoice, or a credit memo, has been added to version 4. And that's available on the Apple App Store now. Also, some of you might be aware that we recently, XK0 Mobile Commerce, which is for companies that do route sale and direct store type delivery sales automation, is now also native for Sage 100 in addition to Sage X3. So especially for those of you who have customers in the food and beverage type industry, this can be a huge operational boost for them using this kind of solution. But today we're here to talk about GetX. And we happened to notice yesterday that Sage gave a preview of Sage 100 ERP version 2016, and they highlighted a possible new user interface, and we applaud that because it's vitally important to continually to modernize software in order to stay relevant in the eyes of the buyer. And but in our opinion, it's really not only the look and feel of the system that matters, and while that certainly can help alleviate concerns that people might have during the buying process, we know that ultimately the success of the ERP is going to come down to the user experience and the ability to meet the goals and objectives of the company. And so we really can't think of a better improvement that you could make to a Sage 100 system than to add something like GetX to the system. But we're not going to just make that claim and run away from it. We're actually going to show you why we think so, and that's really the purpose for this webinar today. Some of you might have seen this screen before from earlier presentations, but Sage has an idea site, right? They maintain a Sage 100 idea site, and one of the things that we notice is that people are not able to access basic information as quickly and easily as they would like. That's really the theme that kind of runs through this list of feature requests, actual feature requests in the Sage idea site. If Sage were to take each one of these feature requests on individually, it would be a tremendous amount of programming time. So what we've noticed is that GetX actually solves all of these, with one simple enhancement. So, you see in the background all of these things, searching UDFs and the search by an email address, or by searching for a vendor remit to or a vendor alias, all of those kinds of things. We could look up and down these lists and you think, yeah, I don't do those sort of things all the time. But we're going to take some examples of how these things come into play. And we're also going to talk about some behaviors that people are prone to as they use Sage 100 systems. But first, about GetX, I don't want to assume that everybody knows about it. So what does it do? And This is really, to me, this is appalling. I love water. I love the beach. I love going to the beach. I love people too. But I think this is a good depiction of how a lot of people view their accounting and their ERP system. It's like a big sea of data, and their head hurts just thinking about how they're going to find what it is that they're looking for, certainly in a reasonable time frame. And so what GetX is designed to do is to forget about how big the data is, to forget about how disorganized it might be, and to help make things better, faster, more pleasurable, if you will. So Sage 100 was engineered a long time ago, and whether it's you or a customer or a supplier, a coworker, your boss, anyone who wants to know something about data that's in the system, you have to go through a process of making sure you're in the right company code, right? You can see in the image on the left, the old blue screen, that's an American Business Futures. On the right, that's an XYZ manufacturing company. So you have to make sure you're in the right company. You have to choose your module. You have to select the correct folder and then choose the right task. Once you've chosen the right task, then you have to make sure that you're on the right tab within that task. Could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different tabs on any one screen. Once you're on that tab, then you need to find the field that it is that you're looking for. And then for those of you who've been around the product for a long time, you might hit the F2 key or the F4 key to start to filter down what you're looking for. Starts with, ends with, contains, and so on, or you'll click on the spotlight to be able to get to that. And if you think about the course, over the course of time, and one single user day in and day out going through this kind of process of navigation, there are a couple of things that go along with it. One, it requires a lot of specialized knowledge about the navigation of the system and the structure of it to be able to find what it is that you're looking for. And the other thing is it's just plain time consuming. So, what we've done with GetX is we've come up with a whole new way to do it. So, we'll take the same structure of your Sage 100 system, but then built natively within Sage 100 is we've built this search engine. So what our search engine does is then, based on a criteria, and here you can see that I searched for a walnut lamp, that it's organized. It found 217 results, and we've categorized it based on the company where it found the data, right? ABC, ABX, new company, and PBS company. And it shows us how many matches of walnut and lamp that it found. And then further, we organize it by the table that it found that data. And you'll see in this highlighted option here that down in the new company, it's highlighted in blue, that in the inventory item master, there were 4 matches that were there. And then in that panel on the right, what you're going to see is that there are a couple of options there. I can go to an item inquiry or an item maintenance. So those options, those hyperlinks change based on what you're looking to do. So now if you look behind here, we're an ABC distribution company in the main Sage 100, but I found data in a company called NEW. So when I click on that hyperlink, and there I have an art specialty walnut candle lamp, and that's what it was that I was looking for. So I didn't have to do any navigation. I didn't have to know a part number. I didn't have to know an exact description or anything like that. But with a new habit of just keying in what it is that I know, I'm very quickly able to get there. Now, GetX allows for a number of different methods to be able to search for data. I can enter in literal text, but I can also add in logic like and, or, not. I can use wildcard, so I can put a wildcard at the beginning or the end or in the middle of a search to look for information that I roughly know what it is that I'm looking for, but maybe I don't know exactly what I'm looking for. I can also enter in fuzzy or approximate type data. So I know what data I'm looking for, I don't know how to spell it. Or I'm looking for an amount or an address or something that's close to what I'm looking for. So more similar to Google, we can do those kinds of things. And we can also search for ranges as well as part of a method for GetX. Now, we're going to talk a little bit, in terms of an introduction to GetX about the whole installation process. And this is really one of the real strengths of the product. GetX can be installed and set up in about 15 minutes. And that's a really important thing for me to emphasize, that by being able to install it and set it up in 15 minutes really allows you to introduce just an incredible amount of value in a very short time. And the benefits can be experienced immediately based on that. So our website contains a download and a video that will show you in less than 5 minutes how to set it up. So you see a little installation video there, 4 minutes and 45 seconds. If you watch that video, and we're going to walk through the basic steps right here now, but that's a video that's always out there to tell you how to do the install for GetX. But you'll see here, you can download a free trial for version 2015. And then we also have links to versions 2014 and version 2013. And you can see us if you need a copy of version 4.5. So the steps would be, first step, download the product. And the second step is once you've downloaded it, you're going to launch an installer program and just go ahead and follow the prompts. GetX installs just like any other standard Sage 100 modules. It needs to be installed from the server, just like any other Sage module that you're going to install. The next step is going to be to activate it. So you'll go into company maintenance and you'll activate GetX. Once you've activated it, a good thing to do at this point right now is going to be to set up role security. It's very important to understand that when you have a universal search tool, that you don't want to provide access to data that ownership doesn't wish to have exposed to certain users or groups of users. So what you have the ability to do is by each role within Sage 100 is go through and indicate whether an individual has rights to see the results of the data that they had searched on. So all built natively into the role maintenance. Once you've set up security, the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and register the module. So if it's been purchased, when you register that module, it's going to return you an active key. If you've not purchased the product, when you register the module, it's going to put you in a demo-only mode and allow you to run GetX as a demo for 30 days. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later. Once you've registered it, then you can go ahead and you can personalize the system. So what we've done with GetX is we've provided the ability for every table that we search. And by the way, the tables that we search are all of the framework modules, and then we also search the payroll master file. That's the only non-framework table that we search. So you can go through table by table and indicate whether you want to index that database for searching, and then you have the ability to choose which data fields. You'll see in the panel here on the right with the AP check history, you can choose to indicate which fields you want to have searched. And furthermore, we give you the freedom to allow which tasks do you want to be able to associate it with it. So when I find data that hits a match on a customer master file table, what tasks do I want to be able to launch based on that? Okay. So once I've set up that personalization, the last thing that I need to be able to do is do my initial indexing of the software. And this is the only time that you have to go outside of Sage 100 to do anything. So within, you'll see in the structure here underneath Mass 90, there's a GX folder and then a folder called service. And there's a GetX indexservice.exe file. You run that one time, and then what you do is you put in valid username and password for Sage 100, and then you put in a valid username and password for someone, ideally someone with administrative rights on the server. So that would be a Windows login. And then you set the timer for how frequently you want the index to be built. So part of the speed of GetX is because what we do is we create an indexed database. And so we're constantly searching the index database and not live ProvideX. And you'll see when we do the demo how fast the results are returned. And that's because we're searching that indexed database. So what the timer does is tells you how frequently you want the system to go through and look for new data, for deleted data, and to look for modified data, and to update the indexing. You can set that to be updated as frequently as once per minute. So every minute you can have that index updating. To our experience and that of our customers, there will be no performance degradation or anything like that. So you just set it and forget it. Okay, so that's kind of the basic little background on what GetX is, how it works, some of the different search methods, how to install it. I'm going to jump in now and I'm going to do a product demonstration. Okay, so bear with me for a moment here and I'm going to switch over to my demo server. All right, and I have a little script here that I'm going to go through, and this is going to touch on a lot of these sample searches that we discussed. The whatever the number is, 32 or 35 requests in the Sage 100 idea site that people would like to see sped up. So you'll see GetX, as I mentioned here, is just another module within the system. I like to drag the search button itself up to the top. I'm a Sage 100 user. We use it in-house. I will say that I use Sage 100 literally every time, or I use GetX rather, literally every time I come into the Sage 100 system. So, you know, the first thing that I want to show off is the ability for us to just search something like a dollar amount. So, you know, I search in $908.84, and I happen to have some databases with some replication in it right here. But I'm going to narrow this down to my GL detail posting file, and I'm going to click on this hyperlink right here, GL account transactions view. All right, and so there's my $908.84. Maybe the reason that I was searching for this is that my bank account was out of balance. So maybe I was trying to reconcile a main checking account. I was off by $908.84. And maybe I get lucky using my search engine. Well, sure enough, this had posted to petty cash and not to the checking account. So I can go ahead, make my journal entry, and go ahead and fix it from there. So that's searching for a dollar amount. One of the things is, you know, think about a customer service environment. People come in, they say, hey, I sent you guys purchase order number so-and-so. What's the status of it, right? So normally you go through that navigation, you know, before you find the order and then get to a point of searching for that PO number. I'm going to go ahead now. They're giving me the PO number. So it's TS0420, and I go ahead and search on that, and you'll see that that's returned those results right back. So you'll see, depending with each search, I have different options that are presented to me. So I'm going to go ahead right into sales order entry, and there's the PO number right there, and I can take a look at the lines, and I can tell them anything else that they'd like to know about that order. You'll also notice with GetX that when it finds an exact match on data, that it turns it green and it tells me the field that it found that information in. So I'm going to use a search here that's going to illustrate a little bit better how we're searching across different companies. So I'm searching on the word American, and I want to call out a few other things as well too. So you'll see that I'm in the EEC company, but I've got matches on American in ABC, ABX, MFG, NEW, and so on. Well, you know, let's look at this. Maybe it's American as a vendor, you know, and it's the NEW that we're looking for, right? So, you know, I highlight that, and there's American Alarm Service. Sure enough, that's who I'm looking to do. So I can go ahead, and now I'm in an entirely different company code, and I'm addressing whatever it is that they had wanted to have me address relative to that company code. But look at other things that I can do with GetX. If you think in terms of improved workflow, a supplier calls in and I want to go ahead and automatically create a new purchase order. So, look what I've done here. In an entirely different company code than what I'm working in right now, I found a match just based on partial information. I was able to choose as one of my options, create a new purchase order. And so it's given me the new number, and it's also filled in my vendor number. And now I can go ahead and get going with creating that PO for that customer. The searches that we've done so far have been, those are very simple literal search, but I can do, other searches too. So I'm going to try and focus and type accurately here. I'm going to search for a phrase, right? So I put quotes around it. You would do the same thing if you were using Google on the internet. So I'm searching for a phrase called service agreement, and I want you to notice a couple of different things here. One is that it found this in a memo, right? So it found a phrase and it found it in a memo. So I'm going to go into this vendor, and sure enough, here's something called a service agreement, and then I can read the details about that service agreement for all climate. Now, I could take that further as well, right? Maybe that would work better if I would say ALLCLIM, right? So I do the search on that, and then you'll notice what happened then is that it went green even further. So I put multiple criteria. So I wanted to search for service agreement and all climate. So now it turned green, service agreement, the vendor number, all climb, and now it's also highlighted the memo text. And here's the reason why. The phrase service agreement does not appear in this, but all climb does appear as part of the text there. So some more of the power there. So what we're showing here, searching a phrase, searching within a search, right? Multiple criteria, and also searching fields that typically are not searchable, like a memo, so a vendor memo, a customer memo, those kinds of things, right? So very powerful. So GetX is searching, not only data to make it faster to get to things that normally you might navigate to, it's searching on things that standard Sage 100 typically won't be searchable on at all. So now watch this. I'm going to search for a single phrase called pallets. And I've got a number of matches here. And one thing that I want to point out here, you'll see the images right here. Another nice feature of GetX is that any match on an inventory item that has an image associated with it in the item master file, that appears automatically in our browser. So, what's this field right here? XE545 underscore handling unit type. You know what that is? That's actually a master developer field, but it's a master developer field, and there's the pallets right here. It's a master developer field for what happens to be a shipping add-on that has written additional fields to the standard item master data dictionary. So if it's a third-party developer, if it's a UDF, and they've written additional fields to the standard data dictionary, those become searchable fields. So think about DM2, think about job ops, think about those kinds of things, and very specific data that might be written to a customer master file, to an item master file, and so on. And I'm going to show you real quickly how that's done, and that's in this GetX setup wizard. Says it's that I'm indexing right now, and my demo system is set up to index once every minute. So I choose the item master file, right? I want to index it. This is, I mentioned before, how we choose our fields, tasks that we want to have associated, and then we go through. By the way, GetX comes with pre-selected fields for searching, for indexing, and for the tasks and all of that. It's up to you to make changes if you want to personalize that at all. So, but what you'll see here, so check this out. Master developer fields written to the item master and a UDF written to the item master file. So all I have to do is go through and check that data, and then it becomes searchable. Now, the reason that it's showing up here, searched, and it's not showing up here is because this is what I'm searching for, the EEC company. EEC, I might not want to search the same way. You'll see I didn't find results, for EEC. Okay, so very tight control over that. All right, what else can we search? I'm going to search for another phrase, right? Damaged goods, something you never want to be. Damaged goods, right? So I search on damaged goods, and look what we've done here. This is comment text, right? So we're searching for details on a sales order. So not typically searchable fields. So it found, this information you'll see right here, refund for damaged goods, and then I can see, whatever the, it's going to work out better if I go into the data entry screen, because then I can highlight that a little bit more. But so it's finding data in the lines, and it's allowing me to go to a header file based on the contents of that. Here's another great way to use GetX, and that's searching for duplicates. So here I'm searching for a social security number. Now, why would I want to search for a social security number? We actually have a client, and you know what? I need to focus here. 9, 8, 6, 5, 3, 1, 2, 3, 9, who got burned by identity theft, apparently on multiple occasions. They have over 1,000 employees, and each year at the end of their payroll year, they create an archived company for the old payroll, and they've been using Sage 100 for years. So you can imagine with 1,000 plus employees, and they've got like 30 archived payroll companies, that for them to go through a process to make sure that the social security number that they've given doesn't match up to the wrong person can be quite onerous. So, look what happens here. I've got two company codes, ABC and new, and so I find a match here, social security number for Jerry Thomas. If I come over here, I've got social security number for Jeffrey Jenkins. I've got a problem here. I've either keyed this in wrong, or somebody's not telling me the truth about that. So I just wanted to use that because I think it's a really nice illustration about how GetX can be used really for any data element to be able to look for duplicates. Okay. This is one that people love, and I'm just searching a single word here, and the word is special, and I'm going to come all the way down here to XYZ company, and look at that, extended inventory item description, otherwise not searchable field, and look, when I click on it, it takes me, it even pulls up that extended item description for me. So there's that special configuration. And folks, I just want to point out that you can install this on your demo system and start using this in 15 minutes, just like I'm doing it right now. All of the data, I believe all of the data that I'm using, except maybe that social security number, and maybe even that, is standard ABC, XYZ, demo data, and I'm happy to provide you, with this script information, because, if we come back to the idea site, we're solving problems for customers, and they think that they have one problem, but actually what we have is the ability to solve problems they don't even know that they have. So like in this case right here, I just did a search for something called a 2-drawer letter file, and guess what that is? It's an alias item number, right? So I pull up that item, and 2-drawer, I spelled out the word 2, right? But it found it here, and the reason is that's an alias item that I have set up for that. Whoops, it's not that. It is right there, the 2-drawer letter file. And of course, it shows me how it made that match right there, and that's exactly what I was looking for. Other hard to find things too, vendor calls, and they want to know about the status of an AP check number. So if I go here, if I go into my AP check history header and click on this, what I'm able to see is immediately I can tell them how we applied that check. All right, so maybe they didn't match it up that way and they wanted to know how the check was applied, and all they're giving to us is that check number. So there's my check number. I can tell them the information that we're looking for, and we can move on. Now, I'm kind of getting back to the Boolean type logic. So now I'm searching for American, and let's say that I have a very active customer service organization, and so part of my process is, hey, give me the ship code for your bill, give me the zip code for your ship to address. Maybe that's part of my process. So I type in American and 53120, and you'll see one of the things that it found is a ship to address, right? So I'm able to verify American Business Future, ship to, that code right there. I click on new sales order, and look what it's done for me. It's created a new sales order for American Business Futures. It's done the selection for me for zip code 53210. And that's very powerful to be able to do those kinds of things. And I'll show you, in fact, I'm going to come back here, and you'll see here it's keeping a log so I can quickly go back to other things that I had searched for. When I search on American and American and ABC company, and I want to do a new sales order here, it's actually choosing a different ship to address. It's not choosing 53120 because my default ship to address is actually to Milwaukee. So by, nope, I don't want to save that. By adding in this additional criteria, GetX is smart enough to go ahead and choose the appropriate ship to address automatically. So we can do cool things like that. I mentioned the images, right? So I'm going to search for a lamp, and I see all these nice pretty lamps, but it's not just when I see the item master file. I actually can verify the right lamp, when I'm looking at a PO history detail or a sales order history detail. So anywhere where an item match exists and I have an image for that item, I'm able to do a visual verification of that. All right, so pretty cool. Now, when I searched on lamp, I got 4 different items. Let's say I search on lamp and walnut. So I search on lamp and walnut. It's still just giving me 4 here, but it's extended some of these other things right now. But let's say that I want to search on lamp but not walnut. So now I search on lamp and not walnut, and you'll see I just have 3 inventory items and not a single walnut lamp to be found. Okay, I hope you guys are enjoying this as much as I am. I'm gonna search for a wildcard, 2481 asterisk. But I'm gonna make this a complex search too, and I'm gonna say and Jan 90. And the reason is that's I forget what it is. It's a lot number or it's a serial number. So look what it's found for me. It's found based on the asterisk for the wildcard, 2481 asterisk, and then the lot and the serial number. So it's found all of the matches for me. I can choose that item and get on with life. I can also, if I have a vendor here, I'm going to search for Anders and 201005 asterisk. Now I'm going to stop and point that out. We search date fields, but the search engine reads them in a very particular way. So when I search a date field, and we have this all documented on a blog page with all of the different search methods and techniques, but I have a 4-digit year, a 2-digit month, and I'm saying that I want to know the results for any time during that time period. So when I search on this, and then I scroll down to my AP invoice history, you'll see that it's highlighting all of the Anders matches and then all of the matches for May dates for me. So if I'm looking for, all of the checks or something like that, in the month of May, I've got that information just like that by using the wildcards and by using a complex type search. So that's using a wildcard at the end. I could do one at the beginning. So, I see that somebody had put in a request for being able to search based on an email address. Well, maybe I want to search on anyone at that email extension. So I'm doing asterisk at sage.sample.com. That's an extension, on an email address. And what I'm able to find is that I have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different people who are in my contact list who are in that URL, and then I can do whatever I need to do. Notice a couple of these things here. This is pretty cool. Aged invoice report, right? I can print right from here. I don't remember what the dates are for the demo date, but it's already pre-filtered that for me, right? So I can go ahead and do that. Statement printing, I can also do that too. Pre-filtered for the statement, and again, I forget the dates. I'm not going to do it right now, but pretty nifty stuff. In addition to being able to use a wildcard, I can also search on a single character. So I'm saying approve, and I'm putting a question mark at the end. So I'm looking for approve or approved, right? So when I search for approve and an exclamation point, it looks like it didn't find it. The reason that it's not showing up green for me is I don't have an exact match. And let's see here. Is that it? Maybe there's another one here. There we go. Somewhere in here. Sorry, folks. There we go. There's the word approved. All right. So very obscure match, but this is our agreement with Jim. This new invoice may be approved immediately, right? So just more examples of GetX being able to find obscure information. And then this one's, one of my favorite ones, of all. And, let's say I'm new to the area and someone calls from Milwaukee and I don't know how to spell Milwaukee, so I found no matches. But if I put the little tilde key at the end, look what happens. Voila, all of my Milwaukee customers come through. So it didn't turn them green, it did identify them for me, but that's a fuzzy logic or an approximation. So I don't know how to spell it, and I can do that really for anything to find roughly what it is that I'm looking for. All right, so I could keep going on more, with the demo, but hopefully that gives you a really good feel for the wide range of things that you can do with GetX, whether you're in accounting, whether you're in purchasing, whether you're in inventory management, production, customer service, any aspect of the business, executives, novice users, receptionists, power users, everybody benefits from it. But but I want to talk about that for just a minute yet, and we're closing in on our time here, and I want to make sure that we've got enough time for questions too. So these are some quotes from real life GetX users and partners, and here's what they've had to say about GetX. My clients love it to death. If your client wants to look up something quickly, use GetX. You should include GetX on every deal. Groovy. I feel like a kid on Christmas morning. This solves everything I didn't like about Sage 100. This is a killer app. Put us on the list of pumped up resellers. We have a client who's hot to trot and ready to buy GetX today. I would describe it as a game changer. I don't know what I would do without GetX. We rely on it heavily in our customer service area. And my favorite, and this is from a controller named Caroline Kowski at a client, Argos Technologies. If you're not getting the information you need out of your ERP, you need to GetX. It puts every bit of your information at your fingertips in an easy search format. The fun begins when you start figuring out how many ways it will save you money. So, real customer client. But here's the thing, and this is really important to understand. A lot of people are immediately going to connect with the idea of bringing GoogleLike Search within to a Sage 100 system. But you're also going to get plenty of this. And what our experiences showed us is that there are a lot of people who are complacent. They're comfortable with their routine, especially if you're a clerical type person. If you've been using Sage 100 for a long time, you say, hey, I know how to navigate through all that stuff, really quickly. And I can't argue with those people, right? They know what they know, really quickly. But I will say that the way that people are doing it in the traditional navigation way is slower and costs more time than having a universal search that's right at their disposal. So others might avoid it because they assume that because it's ERP, it must be complicated or technical or too much trouble. Something must be, and maybe it's too technical and they just don't care to take it on. But really, it could not be further from the truth. So, with GetX, we've taken great effort to try and make everything as easy as possible for you. And I'll say that anyone on this call who has ever successfully installed any standard Sage 100 module once is more than qualified to install and set up the GetX system. You've got my word on that. And so here's some incentives that we've put in place. So for one, I've shown you how you can download GetX. So as Sage partners, you're entitled to free unlimited license for demo and internal system purposes. So salespeople, consultants, as many people in your organization can have GetX, and you can have that on multiple instances. So if you have multiple demo machines, put it on multiple demo machines. We issue our licenses out on an annual basis. So when it expires at the end of the year, shoot us an email and we'll renew the license. We like to do it that way because it helps us keep a handle on who's really using it and who's not. Other things that you get from XK0 as a partner is a reliable annual commission on the renewals for the GetX subscription. We have a summer promotion at GetX, and so for any, and this runs through September 30th, so for any XK0 mobile deal, and that would be for iSales 100 or XK0 Mobile Commerce, or any fixed price custom project through XK0 Technical Services, you get a free resellable one-year license of GetX, and that's up to a $5,000 value. Okay? So now, top 10 reasons to include GetX in every deal. First of all, a free 30-day trial for anyone. So whether it's a new customer, whether it's an upgrade, whether it's just somebody who you like, any customer who you want, someone who you just want to energize with some new thinking and some new ideas about the system, we give a free 30-day trial for anyone. Installation and setup can be done in 15 minutes. XK0 won't break any customizations or third-party code. It's a read-only application, so we're not modifying sales order, we're not modifying purchase order, we're not modifying inventory, we're just reading the data. So to date, we've never broken anything, and we don't expect that we would break anything. We support versions 4.5 up to version 2015, which is available today. GetX reduces time performing almost any lookup. It increases every user's confidence in Sage 100. Major competing products ranging from QuickBooks to NetSuite to Epicor to Sage X3 to SAP already have GetX-like search capability. So if you're competing to win deals, keep in mind that if any of these types of products, and there could be others as well, have a universal search-like capability, and that's being shown in a demo, and you don't have that capability, it will be noticed. Okay? Reason number 8, free install assistance always. So XK0 is always here to provide assistance, that 15-minute install. If you have any questions before, during, or after, we are here for you at no charge. And the price. The price for GetX is about 25 cents per user per day. So think about that. If an employer was merely buying a latte from Starbucks, which probably costs about $5, that would be once a month buying a latte for their employee. Well, instead, for the same money, they can give them a universal search system that's going to make using Sage 100 so much easier. So 25 cents per user per day. We price GetX at $90 per user per year. So it's a subscription base. What that means is a 5-user system, a 5 concurrent user system is $450 per year. We cap that at $5,000. So that the break point for that is roughly at about, and for that we sell an unlimited license at $5,000 with a $1,000 a year renewal, and the tipping point for that is at about a 22 or a 23 user system. And then reason number 10 to include GetX in every deal, everyone already knows how to use it. It's a search engine. Just key in the data that you know. You don't have to worry about being an expert on Sage 100. Enter in the information and we'll take you where you need to go. So some ways that you can engage with XK0. We have upcoming webinars, by the way. A week from today, we're doing a iSales 100 demonstration. Hope you have the opportunity to join us for that. On June 26th, 2 weeks from today, we have an introduction to scripting for Sage 100. Alnor Kasim will be leading that, and you won't want to miss it. That will be a 90-minute webinar, and at the end of that, you will come away with a fully documented script. So we're going to be choosing a script, and we're actually going to be giving you the opportunity to walk through all of the steps to be able to create a real life script for yourself and learn all of the building blocks to start to be able to provide that kind of value for your customer. There's a link on our website, erpappsblog.com. You'll find our summer events schedule, and that will keep you up to date as the year goes on. And then a couple other things too. You'll find XK0 at booth 522 at Sage Summit. I have the great pleasure of giving 2 talks in the Thought Leadership series at Sage Summit. Why Mobile, Why Now? A Decision Maker's Guide to Business Success, which is a repeat. They've asked me to do that again based on last year. And then a new one that I'm doing called Disrupt Your Industry, Making Your Mobile Dream a Reality. Also, for those of you who are 90 Minds members, remember that Alnor is teaching a 2-day intermediate scripting class. That's the 2 days prior to Sage Summit. Okay, so at this point right now, I'm going to go back to my panel, and I'm going to take a look at questions that we have, and then we'll be wrapped up. All right, I love it when here comes, I love this, possibly not possible. So give me a moment to read through this here. So the searches, can we see the customer list of last purchases, not just the last one? You know, the thing is I would say to that we really can't, because we go to a specific task within Sage 100. So, you know, the question is can we see in the browser a list of most recent purchases? You would have to, I would say no. I mean, you could start a new sales order and then go to the lines and click on the button to see the last purchases, but otherwise, no, I don't think that we can do that. Okay, here's a question that says, can it be installed if you have customization from a third party? And the answer is yes, you can install that. Our preference would be reach out to us first and let us know what that third party product is. We have yet to find an exception to the rule, but so far we've been able to install this with any other third party product. So you don't have to worry about installing it before or after. If you install GetX, it won't force you to have to reinstall another module or reset up anything. So it's very non-invasive. Another question that we have is this being recorded for future viewing? And it is. And then another question, this is a great question, can we access the index tables via Crystal reports? At this time we can't. So the index database, what we do with the index database is that resides in a folder kind of parallel to your company data, and it's about a quarter of the size of your regular data. So if you have a 1 gigabyte Sage 100 company database, your index database is likely to be about 250 megabytes. So it's quite a condensed file, but we have not created a data dictionary for it. That's the reason that you can't use it with Crystal, is that that cannot be done. Now, one thing, and this would be another reason to come and see us at Sage Summit, XK0 has been busy building a new kind of business intelligence tool, a new Excel-based reporting tool that automatically brings all kinds of operational reports, things that normally you might go to Crystal for. We're bringing them straight into Excel, predefined report formats. But a big part of that, and part of the speed that we're able to do that, is that we've built a new SQL replicator. So with that product, what we do, it requires SQL, but we're creating a new SQL database that can be used for Crystal reports. And so far, our results have been very encouraging and very impressive. And I know we've reached out and worked in a sort of kind of a working beta format with a couple of different partners. And if you have additional questions and would like to know more about what's up with XK0 and that kind of business intelligence, just let us know and we'll be happy to talk with you about that. And then one other question I have is, can I buy GetX just for a single user? We did, GetX, we priced it the way we did for a reason, and that is we wanted to set the barrier at a price point where even small companies could use it. And our feeling is, even with the 5-user system at $450 per year, that's so much productivity that we're bringing to the user that we think that it's quite manageable. So our pricing is based on the concurrent user license, and we can't register it without that number matching the number of registered concurrent users with the Sage 100 system. As I did mention, we did cap that, so you can buy an unlimited number of user license and buy it like more like a perpetual license subject to an annual renewal, and that's $5,000 for an unlimited license with $1,000 per year renewal.